Welcome back to Beyond Wisdom, where we explore timeless truths for a more peaceful and meaningful life. In every age, people have asked themselves, what makes life truly good? Not in terms of wealth or success, but in terms of meaning, purpose, and peace. Long ago, across many cultures, certain values were passed down, not just as rules, but as anchors for the human soul. Some of those values have faded from everyday life, quietly pushed aside by modern speed, noise, and distraction. But they're not gone. And when we remember them, something deep inside us stirs. A recognition, a stillness. These lost values still work. They still speak. And today, we're going to gently uncover a few of them together. There was a time when silence wasn't just the absence of noise. It was a presence of its own. In many ancient traditions, silence was a doorway to the sacred. In the Egyptian mystery schools, students would spend long periods in stillness before they were even allowed to speak of wisdom. In early Taoist practice, silence wasn't a void. It was a source. Those who know do not speak, Laozi said, and those who speak do not know. The idea wasn't to avoid words entirely, but to realize that truth is often deeper than language. Today we live in an era of noise, not just around us, but within us. Constant updates, non-stop opinions, endless content. But in silence, the mind softens, the soul exhales, and in that space, we can hear something again. Intuition, insight, maybe even peace. Practicing reverence for silence might just be one of the most healing things we can do. Step outside. Sit still. Don't reach for anything. Just let yourself be and see what rises. In medieval Japan, a swordsmith might spend decades mastering his art. Not to get rich, not to become famous, but because the work itself was sacred. Every stroke of the hammer was a kind of prayer. In ancient Greece, artists and philosophers alike believed that excellence, arete, was a moral obligation. You didn't just do things to get by. You did them with care, with presence, with honor. We've lost some of that. In a world of fast results and easy shortcuts, the idea of devoting yourself to something, anything, for its own sake, can feel outdated. But here's the truth. When we give ourselves to a craft with care, something in us becomes stronger, quieter, more whole. It could be woodworking, cooking, writing, gardening. The task doesn't matter as much as the presence you bring to it. That grounded effort is a kind of meditation. And in a distracted world, it brings us back to something solid. There's an old saying in West African culture. When an elder dies, a library burns to the ground. Across ancient societies, from the Celts to the Navajo to the Chinese, elders weren't just tolerated, they were honored. Their experience wasn't seen as obsolete, but essential. Wisdom didn't come from algorithms or trends. It came from living, from watching seasons pass, from raising children, from loss, from love. Today, aging is something we often fear or ignore. Youth is celebrated while older generations are sidelined. But if we pause, if we listen, we might hear stories and insights we'd otherwise miss. We might find ourselves reminded that life isn't only about speed, but depth. Sometimes, a conversation with someone who's lived a little longer than you is worth more than 100 books. The value of intergenerational connection isn't sentimental. It's essential. Many ancient codes, from the Stoics of Rome to the samurai of Japan, taught that real strength isn't in conquest, but in self-restraint. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In ancient India, the practice of brahmacharya wasn't just about celibacy. It was about mastering one's desires so they didn't master you. Power wasn't loud. It was quiet, steady, grounded. We live in a culture of more wants, more stimulation, more expression. But some of the wisest traditions remind us that not everything we feel needs to be acted on. Not every opinion needs to be spoken. Not every craving needs to be satisfied. Restraint doesn't mean repression. It means choosing your response with care. When we practice restraint, we create space for clarity, for peace, for freedom. In ancient Rome, the word pietas didn't just mean religious devotion. It meant a deep sense of duty to family, to the state, to the gods. In many indigenous cultures, decisions were made not just for the present, but for 7 generations ahead. People lived with an awareness that their lives were part of something bigger, a tribe, a lineage, a world. The self mattered, but it wasn't the center. Contrast that with today, where the individual is often treated as the ultimate unit of meaning. We're told to chase our dreams, build our brand, find ourselves. But sometimes in focusing so much on the self, we lose something sacred, our connection to the whole. There's a quiet strength in asking, what does the world need from me? Not in a grand, dramatic sense, but in the everyday. A sense of responsibility, a willingness to serve. That shift in posture changes everything. It grounds us. It humbles us. And strangely, it's there, in giving ourselves away, that we often feel most alive. Before the world was ruled by clocks, life moved by rhythm. Sun and moon planting and harvest, rest and labor. And in those rhythms, people created rituals, morning offerings, shared meals, seasonal festivals, lighting a lamp at dusk. Rituals weren't superstition. They were structure. They reminded people of who they were and what mattered. We've lost much of that. Our days bleed into each other. We wake to screens, rush to tasks, and collapse into bed. But even simple rituals, making tea in silence, walking the same path each evening, lighting a candle before bed, can return rhythm to our lives. They ground us in time. They offer us a moment of return. In that gentle repetition, the soul rests. Among the Bedouins, it was said that even your enemy must be treated as a guest if they come into your tent. In ancient Greece, Xenia, sacred hospitality, was a moral code. To host someone well was a sign of nobility, and not just physical hospitality, but emotional generosity, giving time, offering safety, listening with your full attention. In a world of suspicion, speed, and screens, hospitality has become rare, not just in homes, but in how we treat each other. We're quick to label, quick to judge, slow to truly welcome. But when we practice hospitality, even just by being fully present with another person, we make space for healing. We create little sanctuaries in a chaotic world. Hospitality is not just about others. It softens us too. It keeps the heart open. These values, silence, craft, elder wisdom, restraint, duty, ritual, and hospitality, are not relics. They are roots. And in remembering them, we don't just honor the past. We reclaim something essential, something we've always needed and still do. The modern world may be fast, but the soul is still slow. The body still longs for rhythm. The spirit still craves meaning. These ancient ways of being are not lost. They're waiting, not to be studied, but to be lived. Which of these forgotten values speaks to you the most? And how might you begin to live it, even just a little, today? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If this video brought you value, subscribe to Beyond Wisdom. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and stay wise.